Get Newcastle United FC updates directly to your inbox plus subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Could not subscribe? Try again later. Invalid email. Newcastle United threw away 2 vital points at St James Park as Burnley fought back to claim a 1-1 draw on transfer deadline day. On what was a bizarre evening on Tyneside, when the focus was as much on off-field events as it was on the matters out on the pitch. Joselu missed a first-half penalty for the Magpies before captain Jamal Lascelles powered in the opener after the break. But, with just 5 minutes left, Sam Vokes nodded a header towards goal which Karl Darlow could only palm onto the bar, before it rebounded and ricocheted in off the goalkeeper's back. Here, NUFC writer Chris Waugh takes us through what we learned from a match in which the football was almost secondary, yet the result extremely important. 1. Penalty woes on the field, but optimism and maybe goals arrive on deadline day. If ever one moment highlighted Newcastle's desperate need to sign a proven Premier League goal scorer, this was it. Standing in front of the Gallows Gate end after 34 minutes, Joselu had the perfect opportunity to tuck away a penalty, United's first of the season, and give the Magpies the lead they desperately needed against the Clarets. The Spanish striker walked across and grabbed the ball as soon as Simon Hooper pointed to the spot. But in truth he never really looked confident. It was obvious from his stance that Joselu would try to put the ball to Nick Pope's left, and the Burnley goalkeeper was equal to it, diving down and easily turning the tame effort away. Joselu stood gazing into the crowd, placing his hands on his head and exhaling in frustration. The forward was also guilty of powering a header over the bar during the second half, as well as pulling a left-footed shot wide when he was free in the box. As rumors filtered through just before the interval that Islam Slimani's move to Newcastle could be off, there was suddenly the deflating belief on Tyneside that no new striker was arriving. Thankfully, those rumors turned out to be false, with Slimani passing his medical and we're waiting for confirmation of his move to Tyneside. And that provides a much-needed lift for a team who are desperately short of goals, something which the Algerian will be expected to deliver. 2. Kenedy certainly knows how to introduce himself to the United faithful. If there was one real bright spark at St James Park, it was the one Newcastle signing who had been completed ahead of deadline day. Kenedy made his debut on the left wing for Newcastle in a 4-2-3-1 formation, and the 21-year-old was excellent whenever the Brazilian received the ball. Excitement levels rose in the stands. He was direct and constantly looked like making something happen. In the 17th minute, after jinking from one side to another and past a couple of challenges, the Chelsea loanee curled a delicious 20-yard shot towards the bottom left-hand corner of the net, only for Pope to get fingertips to the ball to knock it onto the post. It was also Kennedy's smart turn in the box which outfoxed Phil Bardsley and won United the spot kick, which Joselu went on to miss. Whenever he received possession out wide, Kenedy was also keen to whip crosses into the box at every opportunity, creating some excellent chances for his teammates. After the break, there was the same electricity from the Brazilian, and it was perhaps no surprise that he provided the assist for the opener. Whipping in a corner, Lascelles ran to the front post and met Kennedy's inviting cross, powering a header into the net. When Kenedy was replaced with 20 minutes to go, he rightly received a standing ovation from the St. James Park crowd. This was a very positive introduction. Indeed. 3. Games on deadline day is a farce, and the Premier League surely must realise that. The Premier League desperately need to look at this. Having a month-long mid-season window is questionable enough. But to have Premier League matches on deadline day really is farcical. By kick-off, there was still more than 3 hours of the transfer window remaining and, as news filtered through that Alexander Mitrovic's loan return to Anderlecht had collapsed, suddenly attention turned to off-field issues once again, rather than the crucial match which was about to take place. Then during the game itself, rumors regarding Slimani and Mitrovic continued to circulate, making it a ridiculously hard game to report on, but also detracting from what should have been the central focus of the night, namely, the football. It was a bizarre day all round and, though it ended in positive fashion for Newcastle, let's hope the Premier League never schedule games on deadline day again. 4. If Darlow is dropped, he can certainly feel hard done by. The record books will show that Darlow scored an own goal against Burnley. But the United goalkeeper was mightily unlucky. He made a couple of excellent saves against Burnley, denying Aaron Lennon and Ashley Barnes, and was so unfortunate not to keep out substitute Vokes' point-blank header too. In the 85th minute, Vokes nodded towards goal from less than 6 yards out and Darlow, rooted to his line, made an excellent instinctive reaction stop by sticking out his hand and tipping the ball onto the bar. Unfortunately for him, the ball cannoned back down off the woodwork and went into the net via the United goalkeeper. With Martin Dubravka set to join the Magpies on deadline day, Darlow will have increased competition from the Slovakia international and Rob Elliott for the gloves. If Darlow is dropped based on this own goal, then that would be extremely harsh indeed. Video loading. Video unavailable. Click to play. Tap to play. The video will start in 8. Cancel play now. 5. NUFC's home form has now reached alarming proportions. It has been a long time coming. More than 3 months in fact. And the search still goes on. Yes. The last time Newcastle won a Premier League game on Tyneside was way back in October against Crystal Palace. It is now 8 games and counting since United last collected 3 points from a game at St James' Park. And that in itself is alarming. The Magpies have scored just 4 times during that 8-game run, and have failed to breach the opposition goal in 5 of those matches. Worryingly, United have also taken just 2 league points from a possible 36 against sides who began the match in the top half of the table. This home form needs to be addressed, and urgently, and before that, Newcastle really need to pick up a win at Crystal Palace on Sunday in order to keep themselves away from the relegation zone.